What's up, everybody?
Hello.
What's up? I think it's working.
I think it's working too.
Woo.
Yes. So tech savvy.
So tech savvy. Well, welcome to RISE, everybody. This is our first ever virtual RISE. Super exciting. Yes.
Yay. We did it.
Barely.
I always wanted to be on YouTube. I'm so excited.
What's up, YouTube?
What's up, YouTube?
I just had to say, it's like my time to shine.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
perfect.
Amazing. Hey, let me give a shout out to my family real quick, who's watching from Flower Mound, Texas. What's up, Emery, Lucas, Jack? Hey, Sarah. Hope I make you proud. Awesome. Well, welcome. I think we're just gonna hang out for a few minutes and we'll get started as people kind of join us via YouTube. And so, man, this has been a crazy 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Not that I'm counting, but it's been 15 days for us. And man, I'm getting stir crazy, not gonna lie. It's been good, it's been hard, it's been all the things. And so before we get started, any funny things that have happened to you guys over the last couple of weeks? Any stories that are just like, I gotta share this?
Good to share.
We talking like funny, serious?
Yeah, any of it.
I went fishing yesterday and I caught a catfish and I didn't know how to hold a catfish. And they're little things that go like this.
Yeah.
Apparently, they like, I don't know, bite you or cut you or something. I got a cut on my hand from a freaking fish. So
From the barb, yeah. No way.
yeah.
Okay.
So the more you know, things you find out when you quarantine.
Good to know. Good to know.
Amazing.
I think I got a lawnmower, and that's probably been a highlight. And so, yeah, I love it so much. It started not starting, but we're figuring it out. But I got to mow my lawn a few times. It's pretty big, so.
And like, you enjoy mowing the lawn, is that right?
I do. Actually, I love mowing the lawn. So it's like a happy hour for me, you know?
Okay. Each his own, I guess.
You're an anomaly, girl, but we love you.
So in my household, we yesterday found a pet turtle in our yard, and I was taking the garbage out. It was really random. I looked down and there's this like little tiny turtle in the grass, and I picked him up. I was really proud of myself because I'm typically afraid of animals. I picked him up, took him inside. He was alive. We named him Henry, and we kept him for a good day. And then Sarah and I got tired of the kids fighting over him, and we released Henry back to the pond today. So my kids got an animal or a pet for 24 hours. It was awesome.
What'd you feed him, Chris?
There's like a little creek in our neighborhood, and so we took him and just gently put him in the water and just, prayed a prayer and ran out of there as fast as we could. It was amazing.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Awesome.
So we're all thriving.
We're thriving.
Yes.
You can tell.
Thriving.
Okay.
Living our best lives. For sure.
Here we go. First virtual RISE service ever. And I thought it'd be fun to kick it off this way. And so if you are with us right now on the YouTube, we would love for you in the chat section to go ahead and interact with us. We're going to be giving away some different stuff throughout our time together tonight. And so the first thing we're going to give away is an Amazon gift card, $25 to the Amazon. And so you guys can go on there. You can shop at home and safety and security and order whatever you want. And so the way you can win the gift card is simply by doing this. Go in the chat section right now, and I want you to estimate how many rolls of toilet paper do you think that you have in your house currently. It doesn't have to be correct, but just go ahead and put an estimate. So I want to see how many of you are like hoarding the toilet paper that I'm trying to find in the grocery store. I want to see how many of you are down to like your last roll. And so do that for us. Let us know what you have in your household. And then
what do you think you have in your household right now?
My household? Actually, we found some yesterday at Costco. And I tried to buy 2 bags of it, and they stopped me up front because I didn't read the sign that said you can only take one. And so I was becoming the person I hate. And so I think we're good now. I think we're in the 20s. I think 25.
Oh, the 20s.
Yeah.
I think we're down to double digits or single digits over here. So should probably go find some
Have
toilet
you
paper
thought of
soon.
like if you run out, like what you're gonna do? Has anyone ever gone there yet?
Uh,
Like Nate, would you get leaves?
I would go to your house and get some of your toilet paper.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'd
okay. Yeah.
sneak into your house.
Borrow some of mine. Yeah.
Yeah. No, we're gonna take it. We're not borrowing toilet paper.
Sure. I'm gonna give it to you forever.
Thank you.
Yes. Awesome. Well, so do that for us. Put your number in the chat feed. And at the end of our time, we're going to choose a random student who's going to win that gift card, and we'll let you know then. Before we do that, though, and as we kind of go on in our service, man, I have loved the internet over the past 2 weeks. And specifically, there's been a lot of memes that I have just thoroughly enjoyed in my household. And so I'm going to share really what we found as we talked as a team, 5 of our favorite memes to really describe the past 2 weeks and living in quarantine. And so let me pull this up for you. Let me see if this works. You guys ready for this?
Yep.
All right. It might be a little wonky. Let me go into it. Here we go. Top 5 memes. Okay, number 1. Oh, I messed it up. See, I already messed up my ability to do this smoothly. Okay, I love this one. Of course, you all know who that is. Social distancing world champion. You know who that is, Amber?
I think so. I think I know who that is, but doesn't nobody know who he is? Is that
What's his name?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
You know who it is? What?
Nope.
Can you explain this, Chris?
Isn't that Sasquatch?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. Yes, I've heard of him.
Okay.
All right, next.
All right, swing and a miss. Here we go. Next one. I love this one.
Oh, that's Amber.
This is for you, Amber.
Everyone wish Amber a happy birthday because her birthday was during quarantine.
Yes.
It was a little rough. But you know, I've still felt loved different ways, just with a little less people around. So yeah. I feel that guy's pain.
All right, here's our third one. Because nobody likes pineapple pizza. Am I right?
Nobody likes pineapple.
I actually do like pineapple pizza.
Amber, no.
You do?
I do, yeah. I know, it's weird. I think it tastes good, but it's okay.
Frozen pineapple pizza sounds 10 times worse than regular pineapple pizza.
That's true.
Yeah, frozen DiGiorno pineapple and ham pizza sounds like a death wish for me. I would rather just eat toilet paper. I don't know.
Okay, next.
Here's our next one. You guys know who that is, right?
Yeah, from Lord of the Rings. Hello.
Gandalf, right?
That's not Gandalf.
I'm just kidding.
It's not Gandalf, no.
I'm just kidding.
Take one more shot who that is.
What's his name again?
Schmeagol.
Schmeagol? Is that his name? Okay. Yes.
This is going awesome. I love it. Okay. And then our last one. I love this one. This is my favorite one I've seen so far.
It's a good one.
You get a homeschool. You get a homeschool. Everybody gets to homeschool. Love it.
So much love for all of those parents out there.
Yeah.
There we go.
Like, oh, so good. Well, I think my favorite one is probably the March one, just because I can like identify with that. You know, I deeply feel his pain. So what about you guys? What are your favorites?
I like the March birthday one. I'm also a huge fan of the homeschool one.
Yeah. Yeah. The homeschool one is pretty good. Okay, next we want to do a little game where you guys can kind of play with us. So we're gonna have a trivia game, a little trivia about fun facts of Amber and Chris, actually, just because we didn't want you guys to be able to look them up. And so we have just a couple of questions about ourselves. Whoever comments first, the correct answer, they get a chance to, we're going to spin the wheel for you, but essentially you get to spin the wheel, and then whatever food place that it lands on, you're going to get a gift card to that place. So yeah, these places you can order takeout or whatever. But you guys ready? Okay, I'm going to imagine you're nodding your heads with me. Thank you, Chris. Glad you're ready. First question, what year was I born? So what year was I born? I'm gonna be watching these comments, see who knows. Chris,
19.
do you know what year I was born?
I'm gonna guess. This is always dangerous.
Don't guess out loud. Don't guess out loud.
Okay. In my mind, I'm guessing. I got a number.
Yeah.
Got a year.
Okay, you've got a year. They know my birthday's in March. That's all. 1989, nope. 95, nope. 98, nope. Ooh, Hadley Grace Vlogs. She is the winner. 1997. That's when I was born. I'm 23.
You were born in 97.
I was.
Amber, I graduated high school in 99. So defeated right now. Okay, though. All right, you want to spin the wheel? Did Hadley win?
Hadley won. Let's spin the wheel for her. Let's figure out what she wins.
Here we go, Hadley. All right, Hadley, I'm excited for you. Oh, Torchies.
Torchies. Okay, yes.
Write it down. Okay, Torchies for Hadley. Perfect. Okay, next question we have. What are the names of Chris's kids? So if you caught it, I think he said it earlier, actually, but I'll give you a hint. He has less than 6 kids.
I do.
But we're not going to tell you the number of kids he has.
So far.
What are the names so far? What are the names of all of his kids? Whoever gets that first gets to spin a wheel. Chris, what is a name that your kid is not? Name a name that your kids don't have.
I don't have a Bobby.
Okay, good.
I don't have an Amber. I don't have a Luke.
Okay. No, I think Hadley got it again.
You got it again. Should we go to the next right answer? Okay, Hope Reed.
Hope Reed. We love you, Hope.
Yes. Nice. Both of you guys great job. Hadley, Hope, what's she gonna get?
Spin that wheel for you. Chick-fil-A.
Oh,
nice. Okay. All right, another question. What is my favorite food? My favorite food. Next question. Good luck. My favorite food changes like every week. But right now, what is my favorite food?
Can I just clarify? When you say favorite food, not like meal.
Yes.
Favorite food.
Not meal. Correct. Yeah. Just.
By the way, I was shocked by your answer. I expected the normal type of answer,
Okay. Yeah.
But it was not that. But that helps.
Yeah, it's okay. Mexican food, pineapple pizza. It's a good guess. Chicken, no. Pineapple pizza, no. Tacos, no. Pizza, the Bible. That's a good answer. Pancakes, pineapple pizza. You guys are doing great. Bananas is really close. That was top 3 for sure. I do like salad. I do like waffles. Cabbage, no. You guys are killing it though. Let's see.
You give a hint, Amber. Like, is it a type of food group?
It's a Mediterranean food.
Okay.
It's made out of chickpeas.
There you go.
I know.
Julie knows. Julie for sure knows.
Just said
Egg, fruit, pasta, oranges, apples, strawberries, American smoothie. Smoothie out of chickpeas would be interesting.
I don't think they know what a chickpea is.
Yeah, what garbanzo means. Euro, red, pita.
Hadley got it again.
You got it again? You kidding me, Hadley?
Hadley, she's killing it. Okay, who said up is next? Megan Cox. Megan Cox. She's our next winner. You're doing great though. Proud of you. You know lots about us apparently.
Here we go.
Wheel.
Ooh.
Chipotle, yum. Also, I do love Chipotle. Okay, last question. What did Chris major in for his undergrad degree? What was his undergrad major? I actually had to ask him this. I had a guess, but just wanted to make sure.
I think I know it.
Yeah?
I do. I think I do. I'm not going to say it.
Engineering?
No.
Mathematics?
Medical doctor?
Okay, Noah Rodriguez. Noah and Hari were super close, but Noah won. Business is correct.
No.
Clemson football studies. Shout out to Will Rays.
It's a great answer.
Okay.
Thomas Holloman said Clemson history. These people know you.
Absolutely. My people, here we go.
Wheel for Noah.
Noah gets Haynes.
Haynes chicken. Okay.
Classic.
So good.
Amazing. Congratulations, everybody.
So good.
Good job on the trivia. We'll have more of that here in the very, very near future. And so hopefully you enjoy that food. In fact, if you want to be like really nice, send it our way. Just bless high school ministry staff. Just surprise us next week. I love a number 2 at Chick-fil-A, and I love a salad with pinto beans and chicken at Chipotle. The rest I don't really care about, just those 2. So yeah, there you go. That's my order request. Well, hey, we are going to continue on. Hopefully you're having a good time so far. And I know Amber, and even you, Julie, I know like these past 2 weeks, we're having fun right now, and we're joking and giving away gift cards and food and all that kind of good stuff. But it's also been, it's been a tough time. It hasn't been the easiest of days. There's been good spots. There's been, tough spots. There's been just a lot of maybe boring spots, if we're honest. And so when I think about really the past 15 days of quarantine, when I think about what my life has looked like, it's involved a lot of Zoom meetings, a lot of trying to get work done with like 3 kids running around my house. I don't have an office at my house. And so I'm like doing work at the kitchen, like dining room table area. And so that's been a challenge for me. There's been a lot of like really sweet family moments. There's also been a lot of spankings and going to timeout type moments, and just being totally honest. Like this is maybe like my worst nightmare, is being told I can't leave my house.
We know.
Like not being around people and just like not doing anything. I am going so stir crazy. I'm getting a little more used to it, but yeah, I'm kind of hoping that this ends quicker than not. And so how have you guys been handling the last 2 weeks?
I'll go. I have also had death by Zoom meetings. I think Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of last week, I had at least 4 hours of meetings every day, which we typically have a lot of meetings, but I feel like it's just increased because we can't have like side conversations in the hallways and stuff. So as far as work goes, trying to figure out YouTube Live was a beating. But here we are and it's working, so praise God. I don't know. I think I just miss like being with people the most. So like being with students, being with coworkers, being with friends. So being stuck in your house and having to do like game night over Zoom is like, I'm grateful for it, but I'm also super sad. So
who do you miss the most, me or Amber?
I think we all know the answer to that.
Thank you, Julie.
Amber. Just kidding. I love you both. It's gonna be fine.
Fine.
Hey, Chris, where are you at right now?
I'm just in the kitchen.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So dirty.
Amber, you're up, girl.
Yes. Okay. So I think similar to Julie, I'm not necessarily like as stir crazy, just because I don't have 3 kids running around. And I love this weather so much. This is like, I love being outside. I'm outside right now. And just like going on walks and runs and doing chalk and playing basketball and mowing my lawn. I like love that stuff. And so I've just had like a little bit more leeway time to kind of do some of that. So I'm not really stir crazy yet, but I think I just am so sad about not being able to see people, like coworkers, just hard not to like pass each other in the hallway and see how everyone's doing. And then I really miss you guys as students, and just seeing you guys on Sunday nights and Sunday mornings, Wednesday nights, Tuesday nights. So I think just struggling with that, missing in person, like, real relationships. And so I've been struggling with some of that. And then also just, I feel bad for you guys, you students. Like, it hurts me that you're having to miss out on things that you love and that you're excited for. And so we just know, like, as we're talking about these things that we're missing out on, that like all of the world is feeling this like strain of the impact of the virus in some way or another. And so it's been hard for everyone. And we just started talking about like what do we think might be hardest for our students. So we came up with 3 kind of main things, and we're going to talk about 2 of them tonight, and then next week we'll talk about one, and then throughout the coming weeks just kind of like flesh out some more details and stuff like that. But one of the things that we really felt like you guys might be feeling is this question of what do we do with our time? Because as students, you have this new abundance of time where you get to choose how to figure out how to use it. And so for a lot of you guys, you go to school for like 7-8 hours a day. You go to some practice or some club. And so that's like 8 to 10 hours that you typically had scheduled for you that now are like wide open. And so while being quarantined, that's just hard. Like, what do you do with your time when you can't see people, when you can't go anywhere? So we just realized, like, for a lot of you, you're probably just super bored and trying to figure out what to do. So yeah, that's kind of the first thing we thought of. Chris, what specifically with that question of like, how have you been dealing with this new issue of new time, different time schedules? What does that look like for you, and how you've kind of struggled with that?
Yeah. I kind of mentioned, for me, I get stir crazy really quickly. And so I like to be busy. I like to have a lot of downtime. And so the fact that I've been forced to have downtime has actually been really hard for me. And so my default is, again, wanting to do something at all times. And so when I found myself at the house, to be honest, I typically will pull out my phone, if I'm hanging out with my family and I'm kind of like, oh, I'm getting bored, I'll pull my phone out, or I'll go on social media. I'll kind of lose myself for maybe 10, 20, 30 minutes at a time. And so like my screen time has gone way up. Like when you look at that little part of your iPhone that you get that update on Sunday, like I turn that off because it's been pretty depressing. And so it's just been just really difficult. All this extra time is kind of, at some moments of the day been filled with wasting it. And so that's been a tension of how can I not just waste my time, but maybe redeem it and use it in a wiser manner. And in fact, one of the things that, as we were just thinking about this week, that Amber and I talked about is just the passage from Ephesians chapter 5 that says this, verse 15 through 17. It says, look carefully then to how you walk, not as unwise, but as wise, making the best use of your time, because the days are evil. Therefore, do not be foolish, but understand what the will of the Lord is. And that's just been a good reminder for me personally to say, how can I just use this time in a wise manner? Because I think there's some days I feel like I'm doing that. There's some days I feel like I'm not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I feel that too. That's good. Can you give the students just one of the ways that we thought we could help them kind of carve out a practical time structure?
Yeah. I'll say this up top. I'm not a type A kind of person. I'm not super detailed on like schedule making, but I do think during a season like this where we have a lot of kind of free time, is to have some sort of schedule has actually been a good thing for me this past week. And I think really a good thing for all of us, because when you just think again about having 12, 15, whatever hours a day that you have, there's a lot of disposable time that we find ourselves with. And so I think just a schedule, figuring out like, what are those priorities for me in my life that I want to do every day? And so like simple stuff, like this week coming up, I want to drink, if you can see this bottle of water, I want to drink 4 of these a day because I've been drinking too much like soda and too many other things that are unhealthy. And so I just want to be careful what I'm putting in my body, all the way down to, I want to read a book 1 hour a day. And so it's just like little stuff that I want to make sure that I'm kind of developing into my schedule, into my rhythm of my days. And so things that maybe I haven't been doing fully yet, but I want to really go after.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. And a couple things that we talked about is just having you guys think about priorities. And so when you think about a schedule, we want you to realize that a schedule is supposed to be a tool that is helpful and healthy for helping you establish new rhythms. And so thinking about priorities like time with the Lord, time with your family, your physical, mental, emotional health, your responsibilities like school and work, stuff like that. And just part of my story is that I spent like almost every day for 5 years, planning out super detailed schedules. And it was a prison that I was enslaved to, because my idols were productivity, efficiency, perfectionism, and control. And so I just have to even be careful in this season as I'm trying to look at a new way to structure my days, of making sure that I give myself lots of margin and lots of grace. And I would just encourage you, if you know that you are prone to idols of perfectionism and of control, just give yourself lots of grace, lots of margin when you're making your schedules. So, for example, instead of being like, wake up at 9, time with the Lord at 10, at 11, I'm going to do homework, 12, lunch, 12:30, go outside. Just say, before lunch, I'm going to have time with the Lord, and I'm going to work on some schoolwork. And then before dinner, I'm going to get outside a little bit and spend time with my family and FaceTime a friend. And so you can just give yourself some space to breathe. Just because in a season like this, especially where we are starting to see that we are not in control, and things that we thought we could control and thought we could count on, they're just being taken away, and that false reality is being shattered. We like to sometimes try to hang on to what we can control. And so a schedule can be something that becomes unhealthy and unhelpful when we hang on to it so tightly. And so make it a tool that can help you structure your time well. But just remember that freedom and life and joy, especially in this season, is not going to come when you try to schedule your day out so much and control it so much. But rather when you recognize that the Lord is totally in control, and that you can have joy and freedom in life, and knowing that He is good, that He has a plan in this, and that He is working in the mess. And we can remind ourselves that we're not going to do things perfectly, and that we don't have to, because Jesus came and did what we needed to be perfect in our place. So yeah, I just remember that as you're constructing a schedule.
Yeah, that's great, Amber. In fact, one of the things that we're going to do this week, I don't know if we've mentioned this yet, but we're going to send out via Instagram and also through our text system, just a little schedule making priority sheet that we've developed for you guys. Just some tips, some things that you can kind of think about how you're wired, and so hopefully some helpful areas to think about when it comes to how you spend your time, especially when it comes to making a schedule. And I know another thing is when I think about like time, when I think about like technology, and how that kind of intersects together. One of the things that I found myself, Amber, just kind of, again, getting sucked into is social media. And so last week, there was a day that I looked on my phone. I think I spent like 2 hours on social media. And I was like, oh my gosh, that was horrible. It was just embarrassing, like, how did that even happen? But it just kind of does when you don't have that schedule and that kind of plan in place. So I just think one of the wise things when we think about that passage in the book of Ephesians is just to ask the question, not that social media is bad or evil, but there are some things that we need to be aware of, and to maybe to look at it and say, maybe it's not wise to maybe spend that much time on social media, because when I spend that much time on social media, not only am I taking away time from like my family or time from just other things I could be doing in my life, but I know what it does in my heart typically is that it kind of just fosters thoughts of like comparison to other people. And I'm like, man, my quarantine's not as cool as their quarantine, right? Or it kind of has me beginning to maybe think that my life isn't as good as their life, or maybe even the subtleness of like, I made a post and I hoped that this many people would like my post, and I didn't get the interaction that I kind of desired to get. And so all those things can kind of begin to kind of pop into my heart, into my mind when I'm spending way too much time on social media. And so I think one of the things that we can look at is saying, how can I put limits on social media use? And maybe for you, it's an hour a day. Maybe it's an hour and a half. I don't know what that looks like, but maybe doing that on your phone and limiting your access to social media, and then filling in the gap of the time that you would have spent on Instagram or TikTok, which, by the way, Amber, I will share with you later, not publicly to the students, but we did a couple of TikTok dances in my house. And I am a horrible dancer. I just want to throw that
I
out
think
there.
you should definitely
really stiff
share
and
some of those.
I think so too.
Yeah.
All the students would love to see your family TikTok.
I mean, all of them know it way probably better than you do, so they could like give you some tips and tricks on like
I
how to
might do
move
a
properly.
We'll see. I got some time next week, but so doing those things are fun, but also I think just making an activity list, and we'll send that out to you as well this week. But just kind of listing out like, what are those things, if I'm not spending X amount of time on social media, I could fill my day with, that would still bring me life and joy. And so that could be If you're creative, painting or doing a picture book or doing sidewalk chalk, Amber's been doing that, right? This past couple of days, and learning to knit. Any knitters out there? Raise your hand, right? What up? Represent knitters. Maybe for you, it's being active. Maybe it's like Frisbee or football, or maybe just doing something outside, maybe going on a hike. But just thinking through like, man, what brings me joy? Or if you're thinking through like, man, what are the hobbies that when I do those things, I feel like I'm being filled back up, and I feel like I've almost been like breathed a breath of life into my day. And so, so I just think again, just being cautious and aware, and to not view social media as the devil, but rather to say, hey, is this the wisest use of my time?
Yeah, that's good. I think all those things are just like I'm getting excited about thinking about how I can spend my day differently, and different things that just bring me joy. And I like I said, kind of bring like a fresh of breath air into our lives. So all those things are good, but ultimately, the best thing we can do is to spend time with the Lord, growing in knowledge and love for Him. That is what we were created to do. And so we can do that through reading His Word and through prayer and just having community with one another, other Christians. And so I just want to read a couple of passages of Scripture to you guys, and just kind of help remind us of that. So in Psalm 16, I'll read a couple verses from that. It says, "Preserve me, O God, for in you I take refuge. I say to the Lord, you are my Lord. I have no good apart from you. You make known to me the path of life. In your presence there is fullness of joy. At your right hand are pleasures forevermore." And then Psalm 36, it says, "How precious is your steadfast love, O God! The children of mankind take refuge in the shadow of your wings. They feast on the abundance of your house, and you give them drink from the river of your delights. For with you is the fountain of life. In your light do we see." And then this God from the Old Testament who inspired people to write the Psalms, he comes down, and the Son of God, he comes down, and Jesus, he says in John 3:16, which is super famous verse, right? That God so loved the world that he gave his son so that whoever believed in him would have eternal life. Um, and this son, he says that if you abide in my word, if you take up house in my word, then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. And so we just know that it is so common for us in life to be like, man, I want to know God's word more, or I want to spend more time in prayer. I want to get to know God more, but I just don't have time, or, I'm too busy, or I don't have enough energy. And we've all been there, and we're definitely all there sometimes. But as hard as this quarantine thing is, I think it would be foolish of us to think that the abundance of time is for nothing. And so I really do believe that God wants to use it for those of us who do have extra time. He wants to use it to foster a deeper relationship with him. And so we can know him more. We can know his goodness and his grace and his power and his mercy and his faithfulness and his love. And he wants us to experience how great his word is, how great the Bible is, and how life-giving it is. And then he wants us to pray, and he wants us to just see how necessary that is for ourselves. And the more we do it, the more that we will hunger for that. And so I'm excited that this is a time for us to really dive into our relationships with the Lord. And I'm praying that he would do a huge work in your lives. And so we want to hear about that too. So DM us and tell your small group leaders as you see the Lord work in your life through quarantine.
Yeah. That's really good, Amber. And I know like one of the other topics we have been thinking about when it comes to students and that we've experienced is the topic of not just time, but also isolation. And I know the reality of isolation probably hits you differently depending on how you're wired. And so if you're an extrovert, you're probably thinking like, when's this going to end? If you're an introvert, maybe you're enjoying some of your time here, in this season of life. But I think for all of us, when I think about isolation, I think of just the tendency in my own heart to maybe give into temptation, and then that leads to sin. And so, Amber, when you think about isolation for you, I know we've talked about how we've dealt with that a little bit in a fun and playful way, but what would you say at an honest level, like how are you dealing with being isolated into your house?
Yeah, honestly, I wish that I chose the right thing every time to do, but I don't, and I've found myself scrolling through Instagram. I feel like I think that's gonna make me like feel closer with people, but it doesn't. And so my screen time on Instagram too. I was like, whoa, definitely had to set limits there. And then also just filling my calendar with distractions, trying to have one thing to do after another, so I like don't think about the fact that I'm sad that I'm isolated. And then I think just another thing that I've been struggling with when it comes to isolation is I sometimes just get in like thought patterns of how long this is gonna last forever, just like really sad about it. And so I think that's how I've struggled, honestly. But I have also been encouraged a couple ways. Just one, thinking about the fact that our desire to not be isolated is a really good desire. And I think we're seeing that God has wired us to want to be with each other. Even if we look back to the first chapter, just the very beginning of the Bible, God makes one human, and then he said it's not good for him to be alone. And so he makes another human, he makes Eve. And so just thinking about that. And then also like Proverbs 18:1 says, whoever isolates himself seeks his own desire. He breaks out against all sound judgment. So kind of like what you were saying, Chris, is like it's easy to give into temptation when we're alone, when we're not checking in with people. And so that's just another proof that isolation is not what we were made for. And then just in general, the Bible, it talks all about how it gives us instruction on how to interact with one another and how we gather and praise the Lord together, how we meet practical needs of one another and serve and pray and build up and encourage and teach and correct, and carry burdens with one another. And so we see that we cannot do the Christian life alone. And I think the lie of the enemy that's going to be really toxic and tempting this time is that we can do it alone, but we're just going to need to press into some means of not doing that, because Paul talks about in 1 Corinthians 12 how the body of Christ, it needs each other. Just like an eye, if an eye was all alone, it's not super useful, but an eye with a brain and a mouth and hands and feet and legs and a stomach, like it can do something really cool. And so I think just thinking about all those things, the good desire to not be isolated, and then just also encouraged by the fact that the Lord has given us the gift of technology. And so even
Yeah.
though we can use that for harm sometimes,
Mhm.
we can definitely use technology for good, to combat isolation in this time. So yeah, how have we come up with some ways that students and leaders and us, how we can do that well?
Yeah, absolutely. And for us, technology, obviously we're on YouTube right now. We have an Instagram channel, so we're not against it. We think it's a good thing, just used in the right way, in their wise way. And so for us, I think, Amber, what you were talking about was really good, because I think the more we can press into our small groups and the community that God's given us. And so I think just utilizing technology like Zoom or FaceTime, whatever that platform is, to connect with each other relationally is just so vital during this season of life. And I just think of maybe this is for the first time, or maybe it's just a reminder for many of us that man, like we do miss our community and we do miss seeing our friends. And just thinking about like, why do we even do community? And just the fact that more often than not, even if we're pursuing it digitally, what community does for us is it offers us accountability, and we can ask questions. We can kind of process how we're doing in life. We can pray for each other. We can study the word together. And so there's just so many things that happen underneath the banner of community that I think we'd be really wise to use technology to really, again, press into that, to fight against isolation, and to really welcome in just all the things that come along with being a part of a community, even if it's done online through something like Zoom.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. And then just another aspect of trying not to be isolated, thinking about the people that you're actually living with that are in your house. How are some ways that you can engage with them and just really grow in relationship with them? So one thing my roommates and I have been doing, which I've loved, is we've worked on 1,000-piece puzzles together. I think we're like on our fifth one, so it's just a really sweet time that we get to hang
Good.
out and talk and do something fun that we love together. I saw Chloe and Abby Mathai making bracelets, and they like have their sisters' names on them. It's so precious. And so if you like making bracelets, go do that together. Students making dances, videos with each other, super fun. You could go and like have picnic Tuesdays with your family and eat on a blanket outside on Tuesdays,
Yeah.
something like that. And so I want you to think about like avoiding isolation in your own home in two ways, kind of. So inviting people into things that you like to do, and then doing things that other people like to do. And so I love to go to the park and play basketball. And so I will ask people to do that with me often. But if I were to only ever do what I wanted to do, that'd be super selfish. And I'm not really loving the people around me. And so just for some examples for you guys, if there are people in your house who love to play outside and you don't love to play outside, maybe play outside with them for a little bit and then invite them to do something that you like to do. Or maybe with your parents, it'd be really sweet if your mom needs help cooking and it might not be your favorite thing, but just go have a conversation with her. I'm sure you can like cut up tomatoes or something, and ask her at high school what's for her. And then if your dad loves to play cards, but you hate playing cards, maybe play a game with him and then ask him to watch a show with you. But just take the time to really get to know the people in your house, to know them, to serve them, to enjoy them. And ultimately, when we're thinking about doing things that other people like to do, it's a chance for us to practice laying ourselves down, laying down our desires, and to just to elevate someone else's desires and be with them. So yeah, I think that's all I got. You guys have anything else? Any other ideas? No? Okay.
You did a great job.
Oh, thank you. Well, okay, so sweet. One last thing. For next week, before we go into our closing announcements, we know that you guys are feeling the weight of missing out on things. And kind of, I said this before, but like we feel that with you. Like we are hurting for the seniors who are missing out on things that they've been excited about since the beginning of school. We hate that for you. We hate that the choir Disney trip got canceled, and that your projects and your clubs that you were so excited about in athletics that you're not sure. Maybe they'll get canceled, maybe they won't. We are so sad with you that those things are getting canceled, and so that's what we're going to talk about next week is kind of just trials and missing out. But one thing I just want to encourage you with is we know that Jesus is better than these things. It's hard to see that in the moment, but I'm praying that this is a time for us to turn and see him as enough and as so much better. And so sometimes it's hard seasons that we have to go through to learn that. But we know that everything he's doing is for his glory and for the good of those who love him. And so we can trust him in that, even though it's hard. But Chris, do you want to talk about our special guest for next week?
Yeah, so next week, we're going to do an interview that we'll tape in advance and show during our service with an old student of mine. His name is David Blau, and David grew up in Carrollton. He went to Creekview High School. He eventually went to Purdue University up in Indiana, played football there. He was their quarterback. And then just throughout his life, he's just had a lot of hard things happen. And so he's just going to share just how he's faced trials and how his faith really intersected with that. Then currently David is, he actually did not get drafted out of the college draft, but he signed a contract with the team. He bounced around a little bit and he landed last year with the Detroit Lions. Amber, your
Michigan, Julie.
Yeah, from Michigan. He started, I think, the last 6 to 7 games of the year, which is awesome. I mean, he's just a guy that loves the Lord. And so I think we're going to hang out. He's going to throw some football passes to me. I'm going to try to like not embarrass my family and catch the ball. And we're just going to hear him encourage us through how he's faced trials and tribulations in his life.
Yeah, I think it'll be awesome. I'm super excited to hear, and I'm super excited for you guys to get to hear. And just one quick thing for next week as we approach that time, just know that the Lord is not afraid to hear your honest cries of hurt and frustration and sadness. And so we're hoping that through the Psalms that we're studying in the coming weeks that you'll get to see that people in the Bible, they honestly cry out to God about how they're feeling. And then God responds with compassion and with grace and with truth. And he calls them to remember the works that he's done and his character. And he says things like, I'm good and almighty and totally in control and all knowing and faithful and trustworthy. I am your deliverer and I redeem brokenness, and my love is steadfast for you, and I have a plan in all of it. And so, yeah, I just know that he can hear and he can listen, he can take it. And then he's going to respond with truth if you go to his word and talk to people about it. So Yep.
Love it. Okay. Well, hey, before we wrap up, just 3 quick announcements to let you guys in on when it comes to next week and what our flow is going to look like. Number one is here in a second. I know many of our small groups are going to be jumping on maybe a Zoom call with your small group leaders and your small group peers. And so that might be happening right after, or maybe a little bit of a lag time. And so make sure you guys jump into that. Also, each week, we mentioned this on Instagram last week, we're going to be doing a challenge, which I'm super excited about. And so the first challenge that we're going to do is, since we're all missing March Madness, or at least I'm missing March Madness, I think we kind of, the tournament, all the fun that comes with that is something that we felt as a loss. And so we thought that we would kind of try to bring a little bit of March Madness back by doing a slam dunk contest. And so all you have to do is to film yourself doing your best or your funniest, your most awkward, whatever slam dunk, and you can submit that to us via Instagram or through email. And we're going to choose a winner next week. And Amber, the winners is going to be, there's going to be 3 winners, in fact, but they're going to receive a gift card. So the best dunk or the funniest dunk or the one that we think is just like quality, number 1, is going to get a $75 gift card. The second place dunk is going to get a $50 gift card. And the third place dunk is going to get a $25 gift card. And so we're excited. Make sure you guys film that and keep it under 15 seconds. Okay. That's the only rule. Make sure it's appropriate. Keep it under 15 seconds. Take a shower before you film it. We don't want to see that, gross kind of hair. We want to see you guys looking your best. All right. So do that for us next week. Also, next week, we're going to start rolling out daily on Instagram a devotional study in the book of Psalms. And so that'll start tomorrow, where we're going to give you guys a passage to read, some questions to reflect upon. And then throughout the week, we're going to have a couple of seniors share a video testimony about the Psalms and the different passages that we're setting together. And then the last thing is just, again, a reminder that next Sunday night, we'll be back with Rise Sunday Night Live with my friend David. And we're going to be talking about life and trials and tribulations. And it's going to be a fun time together. And then the last thing we just kind of want to end on is it's kind of a bummer because we wish we could do this in person, but it's also exciting news is that our intern, Luke Chris, who originally was from Alabama, he moved out here to take this role for a year just to learn and to develop in student ministry, has actually received a job offer at his home church that he grew up in. And so it's a quick timeline, but next week he's actually moving back to Alabama. And he's going to take over a middle school pastor position in his church that he loves dearly. And so we're bummed for many different reasons. It's, again, an awkward time to say goodbye to somebody, but we want to let you guys know the news on Luke. And so if you can, even in the comment section right now, encourage him. If you know him well, shoot him a text message. Let him know how much he's loved and how much he's really served us this past year. We're going to miss him a ton, but also excited for his future, and he gets to go back home to sweet home Alabama, which I know he is stoked about. And so I think that's all we have.
I think that's it. Yeah.
That's it? Okay. That's it. We went a little over in time. That's our bad. Next time we'll kind of keep it a little bit more condensed, but hopefully you guys had a good time here at our very first Rise online.
Ooh, last thing, we got to give the toilet paper estimate winner.
Oh, yeah. You're right. Okay, real quick. Amber.
Kaylee Payne said 50 plus.
What?
Wow, that is pretty good.
Kaylee Payne?
Kaylee, okay. Well, she should not win because that's hoarding toilet paper. That's not cool. Amber,
yeah.
Can you pick a random student?
I can, if it lets me go back that far in the comments. I'm so new to this technology thing.
Yeah. I mean, we could give it to Kaylee, but she's being a little greedy with her toilet paper.
Okay. I don't really see the previous comments. Sorry, guys. We're new to this, asking for grace.
It won't let me scroll up that far either.
I got an idea. Here's what we'll do. We'll talk offline and we'll announce the winner on Instagram this week. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. We'll have a good week. Be on the lookout tomorrow for the devotionals to start, and send us your videos.
Yes.
Talk to you later.
Guys.
See ya.